So I wrote this in a fit of whimsy last week. Apparently I recently found out I'm short on vitamin D, and apparently I'm supposed to learn how to eat more eggs. And I don't really care for eggs, so I wrote a fun short little story. Eggs. Vile, disgusting, odoriferous future creatures. I detest them. Not the future part of them, just the egg part, at least the culinary varieties. But I stand before a precipice where I must now confront these ovuloid things, these singular cradles of life so delicate and yet so important to both their own futures and our own. The old riddle, a box without hinges, key or lid, yet within golden treasure is hid, comes to mind, but I'm not sure if I can muster the courage to wander the dungeon, face the monsters, and secure the loot. But alas, I must do so, for I am put upon a quest, but by no maiden nor king, no, by my own doctor. He might be a wizard. For you see, of late I've been suffering from some uncertain ailment, most malign, extreme weakness despite my fit body. Joints tortured by unseen vice grips, tightened by equally unseen gasps, and a severe pall over my mood, leading me to withdraw entirely from the world of life and light. Finally, reaching my breaking point, I sought help. The doctor, wizard, asked myriad questions and finally resorted to alchemy after his inquiries were spent. Ancient and arcane alchemies indeed. When he asked me to roll up my sleeve, I was puzzled. Well, it's just a bit of blood, that's all I require, he said too calmly. Just a bit? Well, 3 full vials. I went pale before the needle even struck my arm, but at my wit's end, and desperate to remove this ailment, I succumbed, and blacked out shortly thereafter. 2 days went by, and the doctor, evil wizard, I'm convinced now, finally contacted me with news of his alchemical experiments. Mr. Calcifer, I'm afraid you're quite deficient in a certain critical ichor, vitamin D. I believe, based on my recent experiments and testings, this is the primary cause of your ailment. Is it serious? I questioned cautiously. Oh, not at all, just eat more eggs, he chuckled. I purged my stomach at the news. Sir, Mr. Calcifer, are you all right? Wiping my chin and gagging a bit more, I righted myself and responded, Fine, so eggs it is. I was so hot I could probably have cooked one on my forehead. Yes, especially the yolks. That's where all the nutrients are, including the vitamin D. I retched again, unashamedly this time. So now I face an age-old enemy, eggs, the culinary variety. Eggs, the entire host of them, have been my adversaries since time immemorial. I've never liked them, and as a wee lad suffered a terrifically traumatic experience of being force-fed them by my very own vicious wet nurse. She wanted me off the tit, good woman. Despite my protestations, she grabbed my chin, opened my gullet up wide, and shoveled a forkful of seditious scrambled eggs down my throat. The result was similar to the one described above. But I'm a man now, and as a man I must face my ovoid fears and hopefully find the sunny side of sunny side up. The eggs are arrayed against me. However, in their innumerable masses, they have a plethora of preparations prepared against me, most of which I'm barely familiar with. I'm outnumbered and outknowledged, for I've never even cooked an egg, let alone eaten one. Surely I'll be overwhelmed. At the front lines are the scrambled eggs. They're foot soldiers, easy to produce and easy to digest. Next are the sunny side ups and the over easies, cousins in arms from what I understand, but extremely tactical. Behind them are the poached eggs, the lieutenants, beguiling, backstabbing bastards, while experts in their craft. And commanding the whole charge are the hard-boiled eggs, whose yolks are verdigreed to harsh temperaments, and next to them are the soft-boiled eggs, sycophants hoping to latch themselves on to a more advantageous position. Not to mention their reserves, quiche, egg drops, soup, huevos rancheros, eggs benedict, hopefully I can turn some of those to my favor, omelets, the list goes on, ranks upon ranks of eggs in all their varieties. I feel there is no hope. Culinary courage, I invoke you. Inspire me to vanquish my greatest enemy since small childhood. Gather an army of your own liking. Yes, Mistress Culinaria, mollifying muse of my molars. Inspired at last, I gather my troops. Brassicas of all types to make up the left flank. Radishes, broccoli, cabbage, and especially horseradish, my trusted steed of spice. The alliums to make up the right flank. Onions, of course, good cooking does not exist without them. Garlic and scallions as valiant lieutenants. Animal proteins for the middle flank, sausage, bacon, and cheese, my steadfast companions in the kitchen. And in the reserve, the capsicums along with the herbs and spices, few in number, but known for their prowess when the fight leaves the fire and goes into the fry pan. The battle is vicious. Shells crack, veggies are cut up, oil spatters, alliums are seared, cheese melts, fingers are burned, eggs sizzle. Spices are lost in corners, never to be seen again. In a surprise move, I bring forth cooked wild rice and cracker crumbs. Surely the egregious eggs wouldn't expect this. And hurling my new shock troops forward, they mingle with the egg in hot battle while dancing on the skillet. Both sides fight valiantly. After the smoke settles, a macabre hush falls over the battlefield stove. A light shines through the window while Beethoven plays in the background. A lone warrior stands before the last of the egg, armed with nothing but a lowly fork, the shadow of its tines following over the vanquished. I sat there, fork in hand, digesting what had just happened. I realized that I could indeed cook, no conquer eggs, and keep them down. All in all, it was an excellent outcome.